What's up, guys? We are back with Week 13 NFL Sunday action. Let's dive in and break down all these games and find the value out there in an action-packed Sunday. If you want to win all of your bets this weekend, hit that like button. It's good luck and show support for the channel and all the hard work we're putting in every single day. Subscribe to the channel so you don't miss out on our daily content. You can now also sign up for a channel membership by clicking the little join button right below the video. Members get exclusive early access to all NFL and college football videos and get their names up on screen just like right now. I really appreciate the support from all of you. Seeing that badge next to your comments keeps me fired up and motivated to make this channel even bigger and better. Comment below with any bets you're looking at today and we will give you our best advice on all of them. We are committed to responding to every single comment every day, so let us know anything you want to say about my picks, these videos, or anything you see here. As always, our favorite picks will be in the pinned comment down below. Now let's get into our first game of the day. We've got the Los Angeles Chargers going on the road to take on the Atlanta Falcons. The Chargers come into this game 7-4 on the season. While they are, several games back there of Kansas City in the AFC West, good things have been happening here for the Chargers. They are coming off a loss in this game, a 30-23 loss against the Ravens. Obviously not too embarrassing of a team to lose against, guys. Baltimore pretty freaking good this year. In that game, guys, we saw Herbert have a bit of a down one despite, he's been playing really well lately, don't get me wrong, but only 218 passing yards, sacked 4 times, 0 passing TDs in the game. It was a bit of a hard way to go. He did run for a touchdown in this game, so he's been running the ball a little bit more lately. It's been interesting to see. They're opening that up a little bit more for him. It seems like now they're getting later into the season. The running game, though, guys, J.K. Dobbins going to be out for this game, and he's on the IR now, so yeah, not going to be the top shape, Los Angeles Chargers rushing attack that we're used to seeing. Herbert may have to run a little bit more. We may see more Gus Edwards. He was terrible last week, though, only 11 carries there, or 9 carries for 11 yards. He did have a rushing touchdown, but that was the only redeeming thing for him. It was a rough day out there for him for sure. McConkey had a decent day, caught all 6 of his targets for 83 yards there. No touchdowns, but still pretty nice stuff. Nobody had an insane day there catching, the ball, even against a not very good, secondary there for the Ravens. So a little bit concerning to see the Chargers have a bit of a bad time, but I'm going to cut them a little bit of slack here. It was against the Ravens, obviously a very good team. So we'll see what they can do in this one, guys. On defense last week, they could not stop the run. They could not stop the pass. That has been the case for a lot of teams going up against the Ravens, guys. So we're going to cut the Chargers, like I said, a little bit of slack for that game. I don't think they're a team that's supposed to be on the level of Baltimore right now, and certainly it did not look like the case last week, although they did hang around, for the majority of the game and ended up losing by only 7. So not a disaster game for the Chargers. We'll see if they can turn things around here a little bit. They're relatively healthy there on offense, except for, like I said, J.K. Dobbins going to be out. He's on the IR now. In terms of their defense, it's looking a little bit worse, guys. We see they're going to be without at least one starting linebacker and without at least one starting cornerback, so that's not ideal. And we do see Henley there, another linebacker. He is questionable for this game, so definitely a banged up defense here for the Chargers. And with defense being your main strength, that is certainly a concern here as they go on the road to take on the Atlanta Falcons, who are 6-5 on the season. They're technically, or not even technically, they're in first place there in the NFC South, so that has to feel pretty great. And to still be in that position after 2 straight losses. They lost a very close game there at the Saints, but then they followed that up with a blowout loss, losing 38-6 at the Denver Broncos. So yeah, that's not ideal. The Falcons are coming off their bye week here, so that's a big positive. We'll see, see what they can do here. They've had extra time to prepare. They should be as healthy as they're going to be, for the rest of the season. So we'll see what they can do in that blowout loss against the Broncos, guys. Things got very, very dark. Kirk Cousins had a terrible day. I mean, 18 of 27 doesn't look that bad, but only 173 yards. He was sacked 3 times and picked off once. So really rough stuff there. The Atlanta running game, which has been solid generally speaking this season, could not get anything going against Denver. They were completely shut down. Only 50 yards there on 21 carries. Just a rough day. Nobody had a particularly good day in the receiving core either, and it's not like the defense was picking up any of the slack, guys. They gave up 4 passing touchdowns there to Bo Nix. They couldn't really stop the run against Denver. We saw Cortland Sutton catch 7 of 8 targets for 78 yards there, and it was just a bad game there for Atlanta overall. They didn't force a single turnover, and they only had 1 sack. Rough stuff there for the Falcons. They have to be very, very happy to have had their bye week and now get to play at home against, a banged up opponent. So we'll see what they can do. Atlanta comes into this game relatively healthy. I mean, looking pretty good there on offense. We do see Mike Hughes is going to be out there at cornerback, so they're only going to have 1 starting level cornerback, but I don't think that's going to be the scariest thing here going up against the Chargers. In terms of the numbers for this game, guys, we see the Falcons are getting 1 point here playing at home, so basically a pick'em game. We've got an over-under of 47.5. The Chargers 7-4 against the spread this year. They are 7-4 to the under. Atlanta 5-6 against the spread and 7-4 to the under themselves. So first up, guys, I don't want to get on a streak here betting a bunch of unders because I don't love it, but the trends here are really, really pointing towards the under here, and 47.5, not all that many points. So I definitely think there's a good amount of value in the under for this game. Am I willing to put an under in the pinned comment? That's a pretty tough question, guys. I really don't want to do that. So what I'm probably going to do instead is just take the Atlanta Falcons here at home. I think they're in pretty good shape right now. The Chargers are very banged up, especially on defense. They're not going to be able to run the ball as successfully with J.K. Dobbins now out. So I think this is a spot you want to bank on Kirk Cousins, who's been very, very good in bounce back situations. Obviously not very good his last time out, getting blown out by Denver, and he was coming off of a loss in that game. But now coming off 2 losses in a row, I think we're going to see the good version of Kirk Cousins in this game. Next up, guys, we're looking at the Pittsburgh Steelers going on the road to take on the Cincinnati Bengals in an AFC North showdown. This is a very important game here, guys. The Steelers come into this one 8-3 on the season, fresh off of a tough loss there at the Cleveland Browns. Crazy, crazy stuff in that game for the Steelers, losing that one 24-19. Not a game you would think the Steelers would lose, but man, a classic, an NFL classic for sure, getting played in the snow there against Cleveland. And yeah, Russell Wilson, not bad out there, 270 yards, 1 passing touchdown. He was sacked 4 times, but completed 21 of 28 passes. And really, I don't think you can blame this loss too much on him, and really maybe not even too much on the offense in general, guys. I mean, he was sacked 4 times, but he was moving the ball. We also saw the Steelers, rushing attack look fine, not necessarily dominant, but Warren and Harris combined for 86 yards there on 27 carries, so not great. Only the 1 touchdown. So they could have definitely done more with their touches, but not awful, especially given the environment they were in. So yeah, the running game wasn't terrible. We saw Calvin Austin III have a nice day, catching all 3 of his targets for 78 yards and a touchdown there. Not a great day from George Pickens, only caught 4 of his 7 targets, so he's maybe in a bit of a bounce back spot here. But yeah, they only managed to put up those 19 points, and the defense wasn't able to completely come through for him here, giving up 24 points against Jameis Winston, who did have 1 interception. So that was a positive there for the Steelers. They also didn't get dominated by Nick Chubb or the Cleveland running game. Just a rough time out there. I mean, the Steelers generated as a team 3 turnovers. Like, that's supposed to be enough. And Russell Wilson fumbling it away once, a big deal there. But yeah, very good day in general for the Steelers defense, despite, on the scoreboard, it looks like they were bad, giving up 24 points. But over the course of the season, guys, this has been one of the better defenses in the NFL, giving up only 16.9 points per game. You're supposed to win when you have a dominant defensive performance like that. And it was a tough one last week. And now Pittsburgh finds themselves tied in the win column, against Baltimore there in the AFC North for the top spot. And they're going to be trying to hold on to that top spot as they go on the road to take on the Cincinnati Bengals, who are now 4-7 on the year. A very frustrating season so far for the Bengals. They're coming off of a 34-27 loss at the Chargers. So rough stuff there. This has not been the season that, the Cincinnati Bengals or their fans had envisioned in that loss against the Chargers. Guys, we saw Joe Burrow be excellent, 356 passing yards, 3 passing touchdowns, sacked 3 times, but he was doing everything he could do within anything close to within reason, and it just wasn't enough. I mean, Chase Brown was good, 22 carries, 86 yards for him. Nothing wrong with that. Burrow even ran the ball for 28 yards. Like, we saw big days from both T. Higgins and Jamar Chase. They were both absolutely killing it out there, but just not enough there in the end. Cincinnati didn't turn the ball over, scored 27 points, and ended up losing because that defense, guys, real bad. They gave up 34 points against the Chargers. They made Justin Herbert look like a monster out there, passing for almost 300 yards and a couple touchdowns. They couldn't stop the run there. Herbert was running the ball against them really well. And I know Russell Wilson isn't super fond of running the ball at all, so we'll see if he, swallows his pride and does that a little bit in this matchup. Seems like it might be a good idea. The Bengals had no answers there for McConkey. It was just a bad day out there for Cincinnati across the board, and we've become very accustomed to seeing bad days from their defense, ranked 28th in the NFL, giving up 26.9 points per game. So really rough stuff. An elite offense, but a terrible defense there for the Bengals. So looking at their injury report, guys, it's looking relatively good. We do see Orlando Brown Jr. questionable there on the offensive line, but that's the only problem facing the offense for this week. On defense, it's a little bit different, guys. Sheldon Rankins is going to be out there on the defensive line. We also Logan Wilson, he's questionable for this game, so they might not have their starting linebacker either. So definitely some problems there in terms of health there for the Bengals, who are 3-point favorites playing at home in this game. We've got an over-under of 47.5. We're going to be looking at the over-under primarily on this game, guys. Pittsburgh, they're 8-3 against the spread, but they're 6-5 to the over. Cincinnati, they're 6-5 against the spread. They are 8-3 to the over themselves. I don't know if this is going to end up in the pinned comment, guys, but I think it's certainly a spot you want to be going with the over 47.5. I think we'll see plenty of points in this game. The Steelers managed to give up points against pretty much any opponent, despite how good the defense always plays, and this Bengals defense is atrocious. So getting to 48 total points in this game should be no problem at all. Moving right along here, guys, we are looking at the Arizona Cardinals going on the road to take on the Minnesota Vikings. The Cardinals come into this game fresh off of a tough loss. They lost 16-6 at the Seattle Seahawks, a loss that snapped a 4-game winning streak. We were seeing a lot of good things from Arizona, but that all basically came crashing down. They only scored 6 points in that game. Kyler Murray, rough outing, guys. 285 yards. Sure, that doesn't look terrible, but 1 interception. He was sacked 5 times. That's not great. He only ran the ball twice for 9 yards, so wasn't getting it done on the ground either, and neither were the Cardinals in general, guys. A total of 49 yards rushing on 14 carries. Really rough day. They couldn't get anything going there on the road. Nobody had a particularly good day, in the receiving core, except for Trey McBride. He got 12 of his 15 targets. Crazy to see him get that many targets. 133 yards, but no touchdowns. So a tough day out there for Arizona. Playing at Seattle can be a hard environment to, thrive in, but they certainly weren't even, surviving in that environment. It was really, really tough out there. The defense didn't have a terrible day, obviously giving up only 16 points. They had an interception there against Geno. They sacked him 5 times. They also did a very good job limiting the running attack of Seattle, a team that can run the ball a little bit at times, but yeah, Arizona wasn't letting that happen. A very good day from the defense, wasted because of a terrible day by the offense. They did only generate that 1 turnover, but when you give up 16 points, that is not a bad day defensively, especially when you're a team that's, only 11th, 12th in the NFL, giving up 21.5 points per game. So I would think Arizona would be very happy for a similar defensive performance in this one, but the offense going to have to get going a little bit here. On offense, they are fully healthy coming into this game, so that's very helpful. On defense, they're going to be missing possibly Jalen Thompson there. He's questionable at safety, so we'll see if he ends up playing in this one or not. But other than that, this Cardinals team is looking pretty healthy here as they go on the road to take on the Minnesota Vikings, who at 9-2 on the season are sitting in 2nd place there in the NFC North. They come into this game fresh off of a 30-27 overtime win there at the Chicago Bears. So nice to get a win. A little bit concerning to see it be so close, but hey, those divisional games can be pretty rough. Sam Darnold getting the job done. The Vikings winning by that field goal there in overtime. Darnold, 2 touchdown passes, 330 yards last week. He was sacked 3 times, but didn't turn the ball over. That's a pretty big deal. We saw a very nice day there from Aaron Jones as well. He rushed for over 100 yards and a touchdown. He did fumble it away once, so something to be keeping an eye on. You cannot be making mistakes like that as we get later into the season. That is going to eventually end up costing you games, and it could have cost him in this one. This is a game, going into overtime, could have went either way. So a win there for the Vikings. They'll definitely take it. The defense, it has to be very concerned. They did have 3 sacks against Caleb Love, but that's not what we're used to seeing there from the Vikings defense, who is very, very happy to bring the pressure. The Vikings did completely stop the running game, but they didn't stop DJ Moore, who had 106 yards and a touchdown and caught all 7 of his targets. So things to be keeping an eye on here in this matchup. The Vikings defense over the course of the season, though, has been pretty freaking solid, guys. They're 5th in the NFL, giving up 17.9 points per game. So we'll see if they can carry that over here. In terms of their injury report, they could be missing Cam Robinson there at left tackle, but other than that, the offense is looking very, very healthy. In terms of the defense, no starters currently listed as out for this game. So great health here for the Vikings, and they're playing at home in this game. We see Arizona, the Vikings are 3-point favorites in this game. We've got an over-under of 45. Arizona, 7-4 against the spread. They are 6-4-1 to the under. Minnesota, 7-3-1 against the spread. They are 7-4 to the under themselves this season. We've got a total here of 45, guys. That's going to be my main focus in this game. I think this is a spot, and I'm not super happy about betting unders. I haven't had a good time with that recently, but we're going to be on under 45 in this game. I think it's great value. Both defenses playing pretty well. I'm not expecting some crazy outburst here from the Vikings on offense or the Cardinals going up against that Vikings defense. So give me under 45 in this one. I think we see offense be at a premium in this game. Next up, we're looking at the Indianapolis Colts. They're going on the road here to take on the New England Patriots. The Colts come into this game 5-7 on the season, coming off of a tough loss, albeit it was a loss to the Detroit Lions. So you can't really expect a team that's at the level of the Colts to, have much of a chance against a team that's at the insanely high level that the Lions are playing at the moment. Is a 24-6 loss, so not a whole lot of positive things to look at for the Colts. We did see not a great day from Anthony Richardson. Those that inaccuracy coming back to haunt him. He only completed 11 of 28 passes for 172 yards, but he was sacked 0 times and was intercepted 0 times. So not a ton of negatives here. He did do a very good job moving the ball on the ground. He had 10 carries for 61 yards. Jonathan Taylor not really having the same success there on the ground, and running the ball against the Lions is tough, guys. They are really, really good in the trenches, and that makes things difficult there. You're not going to have a ton of fun running in the trenches against the Lions, so can't expect miracles there. We did see Michael Pittman Jr. have a nice day, catching 6 out of his 7 targets for 96 yards, so something to look at heading into the future. I could see him having a nice day out there once again in this one, so we'll see if that ends up happening. In terms of their defense last week, giving up 24 points against the Lions isn't awful. They had no interceptions against Goff. They did sack him 3 times, so that's not bad, but they couldn't stop the Detroit rushing attack. Not that anybody can stop the Detroit rushing attack this season, but giving up 137 yards and 3 rushing touchdowns on 33 carries, maybe not the best look. They did do a good job against, the passing game. Amon-Ra St. Brown only caught, 62 yards. Jameson Williams, 64 yards. So some positives there for the Colts, but overall kind of a tough game. But they, come into this one a little bit banged up, guys. They've got a couple dudes out there on the offensive line, so that's not great. They're going to be missing Josh Downs in this game as well. Alec Pierce is questionable. I do think he's more likely to play than to sit, but we're not going to see Anthony Richard with all of his weapons out there, and I'm a little bit worried about the run blocking here in addition to the pass blocking, as the Colts certainly going to be wanting to run the ball here with Jonathan Taylor. So we'll see how things go there on offense. On defense, they are fully healthy for this game, but over the course of the year, the Colts have not been an amazing defensive team. About league average. I mean, 16th in the NFL, giving up 22.8 points per game. They do get to take on a relatively easy opponent here in the New England Patriots. They come into this one only 3-9 on the season, fresh off of a 34-15 loss there at the Dolphins. So rough stuff there for the Patriots, who are obviously having a pretty bad season, guys. I mean, not keeping things competitive against the Dolphins can't feel great. They, Drake May, he's doing some positive things. He's probably the main bright spot for this team. They could have theoretically found their quarterback of the future here. We'll see how that goes down the stretch. I mean, 222 yards, 1 touchdown, 1 interception, and sacked 4 times. Doesn't necessarily get me too fired up. The running game did some positive things there. I mean, Drake May had 5 carries for 26 yards himself, so nothing wrong with that, as long as, your quarterback can run and stay healthy, be smart enough to get down and not end up with brain damage. So, yeah, decent stuff there from Drake May. Overall, the running game, not amazing. Demario Douglas, 5 receptions for 62 yards. He caught 5 out of 7 targets, so nothing terrible there, but obviously we're not about to throw a parade for a team that scored 15 points and got blown out. In terms of their defense, they had no answers there for the Dolphins, guys. Tua, 4 touchdown passes, sacked twice, intercepted 0 times. I guess they slowed down the run a bit, but they had no answer there for Waddle. They generated 1 turnover, but basically a terrible day across the board there for the Patriots last week. And as a team, they're giving up, 23.5 points per game. That's 19th in the NFL. They're only scoring 16.4. That is 31st in the NFL. So not loving what we're seeing from the Patriots right now in terms of their injury report. They're, Demario Douglas is questionable. Lowe is questionable there on the offensive line. And they've got a ton of guys banged up there on the defense, guys. 4 starters currently marked as questionable. We've got several second stringers marked as questionable as well. So not a ton of clarity there, but it looks like it's, a long shot that they would be anywhere close to full strength for this game. The Patriots are getting 2.5 points here playing at home. We've got an over-under of 42.5. The Colts are 8-4 against the spread. They're 7-5 to the under. New England 4-7-1 against the spread. They are 7-5 to the over. Guys, I think this is a great spot to take the Indianapolis Colts to win this game by at least a field goal. The Patriots are actually bottom 5 in the NFL in stopping the run. The Colts are going to try and run the ball. I'm a little bit concerned about their banged up offensive line, but I think Jonathan Taylor can get the job done here. Give me the Colts at -2.5. I think this is an excellent spot for them. No interest in the over-under in this game. I just think this is a good spot to go ahead and take the Colts to win and cover. Next up, we're looking at the Seattle Seahawks. They're going on the road to take on the New York Jets in one of the weirdest games of the day, I would probably say. The Seahawks come into this one playing relatively well. They're 6-5 on the season, in first place there in the NFC West, so that has to feel pretty good. I wouldn't say this team's been playing amazing. They did get to take advantage of the, very banged up 49ers to win 20-17, and then last week a nice 16-6 win there over the Arizona Cardinals, who came into that game playing pretty well, one of the hotter teams in the NFL, and the Seahawks managed to cool them off. Getting to play at home, definitely helpful in that game. We saw Geno Smith have a decent, I would say relatively pedestrian day though. 1 touchdown, 1 interception, 254 yards. He was sacked 5 times, which I'm not going to lie is pretty concerning. The running game didn't go nuts, really only 65 total yards on 25 carries, so that's pretty bad. And no rushing touchdowns. We saw, DK Metcalf. He's starting to get healthy. Caught 4 out of 5 targets for 59 yards. That's a positive sign for him, but not a banner day for the Seahawks offense, obviously scoring only 16 points. The credit for this win should certainly go to this defense, giving up only 6 points in the game, 1 interception. They didn't give up very much to the pass, gave up almost nothing to the run, and just a great day out there for the Seattle defense that over the course of the season has been kind of middle of the road. I mean, giving up 22.2 points per game has them 14th in the NFL. So definitely plenty to work on here for Seattle. I mean, they come into this game very healthy looking there on offense. So that's a big step in the right direction in terms of their defense, guys, looking healthy there as well. And they're starting to play better and better as the season progresses. So a lot of signs pointed in the right direction here for the Seattle Seahawks as they go on the road to take on the New York Jets, a team that is all over the place right now, guys. It's looking really, really crazy. All sorts of super, super weird news coming from ownership. They're firing off, there's house cleaning going on here in the middle of the season. There's all sorts of weird rumors swirling about the health or the, what is Aaron Rodgers thinking right now? Like, is he healthy? Is he lying about being healthy so he can play? Why is he lying about being healthy so he can play? Does he want to be with the Jets the rest of the season? Should they release him? Should they, what is going on? Very little idea. The idea is that, he's going to be starting in this game. They're coming off of that 28-27 loss against the Colts and coming off of their bye week, obviously. But yeah, losing to the Colts has to feel real bad. The Jets just have not been able to figure it out this season. Rodgers did complete 22 of 29 passes for 2 touchdowns and 0 interceptions last week. Only 184 yards, so let's not throw him a parade. He was sacked 3 times. Breece Hall had a nice day running the ball, 16 carries for 78 yards and a touchdown for him, so that's all positive. Devontae Adams caught 6 out of his 7 targets for 72 yards. Breece Hall, he did have a touchdown catch and caught all 7 of his targets. So a lot of things pointed in the right direction there for the Jets. The defense was just terrible, and it's looking like getting rid of Robert Saleh was a terrible idea, guys. They could not hold Anthony Richardson or Jonathan Taylor really in check enough to get the job done, and it was rough out there, guys. I mean, we saw the Jets not even turn the ball over and still lose this game. So rough stuff out there, giving up 28 points, not what was supposed to be going on this season. They did generate a turnover, but over the course of the year, this Jets defense has been pretty middle of the road, giving up 22 points per game, nothing to write home about. And yeah, looking like the football gods are pretty mad at them for firing Robert Saleh. So we'll see what they can do in this game. The Jets come into this one relatively healthy. We do see Breece Hall is questionable. On defense, we had a couple guys marked as questionable, but I think there's a decent chance Mosley plays in this game, and Chuck Clark also has a chance to suit up as well. So this should be close to a full-strength Jets team. And looking at the numbers, guys, we see the Jets are getting 1 point here. They're +1. We've got an over-under of 42. Seattle, they are 4-6-1 against the spread. They're 6-5 to the under. The Jets, 3-8 against the spread. They are 5-5-1 to the under. There's a lot of money coming in on Seattle because of all the bad vibes with the Jets and the firings and all the hate about Rodgers. At 2.5, I did think the Jets might have been the value side. But, guys, I like the Seahawks in this spot. I think they're going to go on the road here, get a win against the Jets. It might be a little bit cold for them, but Geno Smith, I think he can take care of business. This Jets defense not looking that good at all. I think Seattle is a team on the way up. I think the Jets are a team on the way down. Go ahead and give me the Seattle Seahawks here to get the win and cover playing on the road. I don't love that they're on the road here, but I definitely still think they're the value side in this game. Will this one being in the pin, going in the pin comment? I would say it has a chance. Not a lock to end up in the pinned comment. Moving right along, we are looking at the Tennessee Titans. They're going on the road to take on the Washington Commanders. The Titans are 3-8 on the season. They do come into this game off of a win, though. They won 32-27 at the Texans. So some positive things to look at there. But man, it's been a little bit rough. Apparently, Will Levis recalibrated during his 3-game absence. Don't worry, guys. He's not a mediocre to bad quarterback that only knows how to throw deep balls and can't do anything else. He just needed to recalibrate. That's the whole problem. And I guess, recalibrating worked a little bit there against the Texans, guys. He had 1 interception, so still threw the ball to the other team. He completed 18 of 24 passes for 278 yards. He was sacked 8 times, so maybe they should recalibrate his ability to get the ball out of his hands before he's tackled by like 3 dudes, or just maybe stop holding the ball and thinking he can run around like Brett Favre did 20 years ago. I don't know what the answer is. Maybe it's just more recalibration. They did get the win in this game. He played all right, but definitely not a quarterback that I'm very excited about backing. We saw Tony Pollard have a big day. That was key in this win. He had 119 yards on 24 carries and 1 touchdown, so good stuff there. A nice day from Calvin Ridley. Yeah, they just want to throw it deep, guys. We've got 2 receivers here with 60-plus yard receptions in this game. Like, they're going to throw it deep, and it's going to go to somebody. We'll see who. Will Levis had a fumble, and Jackson fumbled it away once also. Turning the ball over 3 times and still winning has to feel pretty good there for the Titans and pretty horrible for the Houston Texans. On defense, Tennessee gave up 27 points. They did pick off C.J. Stroud twice, so that's a nice look, and they held Joe Mixon to basically nothing. But can we trust the Titans to do this again? Seems like a bit of a big ask since over the course of the season, they're 27th in the NFL, giving up 26.4 points per game. I don't think this defense has been quite as good as it's been hyped up to be over the course of the season. They've played, I don't know. I'm not going to comment too much on their schedule, but I'm not super high on the Titans here as they go on the road to take on the Washington Commanders, who are 7-5 on the year, losers of their last 3 in a row. Losing against Dallas their last time out, not a good look, a 34-26 loss there. Jaden Daniels suddenly seeming to hit that wall there in the second half of the season, got picked off twice, did have 2 touchdown passes. He also ran for a touchdown, 7 carries for 74 yards. He played pretty well, sacked 4 times though, and turning the ball over twice is not going to throw you a parade for that, but he was doing some positive things out there. Got to give him credit. He was great in the running game, like I was just saying. Nobody else particularly was amazing, but they're doing running back by committee, and it seems to be working okay there for Washington at the moment. Terry McLaurin, another big day, caught 5 of 6 passes for 102 yards and a touchdown. So things headed in the right direction, in terms of the offense, putting up 26 points. Maybe not a barn burner of a game, but how do you give up 34? Well, you give up 34 points by turning the ball over a bunch and stuff like that. But they allowed Cooper Rush to pass for 2 touchdowns, only sacked him once, 0 interceptions. They also couldn't stop the run. This hasn't been a good defensive team all season long, so I'm not shocked to see them kind of falling apart here late. They didn't have any answers for CeeDee Lamb. They did recover 1 fumble in the game, so I guess that's a positive. But over the course of the year, guys, not super high on this Commanders defense. They're giving up 23.1 points per game, and it seems like that's a number that's going to get worse and worse as the season continues. But they are going up against a terrible team in this one, so maybe they can improve that number a little bit here. On offense, they're looking fairly healthy. We do see Andrew Willie out there on the offensive line, so not going to be the full-strength offensive line. Can Trent Scott step into that gap and play competently? I'd say that's possible, but I am a little bit worried about the offensive line here. On defense, things are looking better. Marshawn Lattimore is questionable, so there's a chance that he makes his debut here. Still dealing with that hamstring thing, and I guess he's technically been downgraded to doubtful now. So guess we're still not going to see him in this one. Looking at the numbers for this game, we see the Commanders are -6. We've got an over-under of 44.5 out there. Tennessee only 2-9 against the spread this season. They are 6-4-1 to the over. Washington 7-4-1 against the spread. They are 8-4 to the over themselves. If you're forcing me to pick a side in this one, guys, I would maybe lean just a little bit towards Tennessee and the points, but that's not my favorite play on this one. I honestly think you want to go with the over. 44.5, not a ton of points. I'm a little bit confused here why the total would be so low in this game. I mean, in terms of the weather report here, guys, I don't think we're too terrified. We do have scattered rain showers possible, but it's like a 2% chance, so that's not a big deal. And winds of less than 10, temperatures in the 40s. Go ahead and give me the over in this game. I think we see plenty of offense to get us over that 44.5 number. Up next, we're looking at the Houston Texans. They're going on the road to take on the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Texans come into this game winners of, 1 out of their last 4 games. So not looking great here, kind of stumbling. They're still, 7-5 on the year atop the AFC South. But yeah, AFC South pretty much terrible again. No shocker there. They lost their last time out, that 32-27 loss against the Titans. We saw a very, very bad day there. Just CJ Stroud, a disaster out there, doing all kinds of terrible stuff. Picked off twice, sacked 4 times. He's in a huge bounce back spot in this one, but he is playing on the road, which has not been his specialty in his young career. Joe Mixon coming off a terrible game as well. Can't feel great. Nico Collins did catch 5 out of his 9 targets for 92 yards and a touchdown, so we'll take that, I guess, but a little bit of a rough day out there for the Houston Texans on offense, scoring 27 points. I mean, albeit against a theoretically decent defense, but we'll see if they can bounce back here. Definitely a day they're going to want to forget. On defense, terrible. Giving up the deep ball to Will Levis, and the Titans has to feel horrible. They also couldn't stop the run at all. It was just a really bad, no good, bad day there for the Texans there. Even though they were playing at home, somewhere they're normally very, very good. So definitely a game the Texans are going to want to try and forget. I mean, that defense was real bad, and over the course of the season, they've been pretty middle of the road, so we'll see what they can do in this one. I'm not super hyped up about them, but like I said, we'll see. They're going against a division foe in this one, taking on the Jacksonville Jaguars, who are 2-9 on the season. They've had a rough schedule over their last 4 games, pretty much getting, pretty rough schedule, but Although they did get blown out by the Lions, 52-6, they kept it close against the Vikings, close against the Eagles, and close against the Packers. So I don't think they have to feel too bad, but this season clearly going down the tubes. We do see Trevor Lawrence likely to come back for this game, so we're not going to be seeing Mac Jones out there to be horrible like he was against the Detroit Lions. In his defense, everybody's horrible against the Detroit Lions, so I'm not going to freak out too much on him. But yeah, not a good day there for Mac Jones. Looks like he won't be out there. Just not very much to glean here. They got completely dominated by the Detroit Lions. That's something that's going to happen to some teams, especially if you were a bad team, and that's what the Jaguars have been overall this season. So we'll see if they got a little bit of a bounce back in them. Obviously, they were terrible on defense and have been terrible on defense all season long. In terms of their health for this game, Trevor Lawrence is slated to make his return, which brings the the offense back to basically full strength. And on defense, they're not missing any starters right now, so a pretty healthy team here. And playing at home, guys, we see the Jaguars are getting 3.5 points. We've got an over/under of 44. Houston, they are 5-6-1 against the spread. They are 8-4 to the under. Jacksonville, 6-5 against the spread and 7-4 to the over. Guys, I don't know. This is tough. Houston has won 5 in a row against Jacksonville. Houston is great in the first half, but usually terrible in the second half. CJ Stroud is only 6-11 against the spread as a favorite. The Texans' offensive line is not good. This doesn't feel fun. I don't like this. I don't want to do this, but I think this is a spot where we have to take the Jacksonville Jaguars getting 3.5 points, assuming that we really do see the return here of Trevor Lawrence. Jacksonville's pretty healthy. I know Houston's coming off of a bad game, but Jacksonville playing at home, getting 3.5 points, I think that's what we have to go with. In terms of that over-under number of 44, I definitely like the over in this spot. I mean, Jacksonville's a significant over team. Houston has been an under team this year, but I think we can get over that number. Will any of these end up in the pinned comment? I don't want to, but we'll just have to wait and see. That Jacksonville getting over a field goal might have to go in there, guys. I won't love it, but it might have to go in there. Rolling along here, guys, we are looking at the Los Angeles Rams. They're going on the road to take on the New Orleans Saints. The Rams come into this game fresh off of that 37-20 loss there at the Eagles. We had backed the Rams in that game. Unfortunate for us. Bad call there. The Eagles playing really, really well. The Rams really not having any answer there for Saquon Barkley. Although, in their defense, feels like nobody's got an answer for Saquon Barkley this season. Yeah, maybe the dumbest thing a franchise has ever done is the Giants letting Saquon go so they could sign Daniel Jones long term. So, yeah, pretty unfortunate there. Rams only scored 20 points in that game. Not terrible stuff from Stafford. He wasn't great out there. 24 of 36, 243 yards, 2 touchdowns. He was sacked 5 times. Bro was not getting a lot of time to get the ball out of his hands before he was having to deal with pressure in his face. Kyron Williams did have a good day. 16 carries, 72 yards, and a touchdown from him. So that looked pretty good. Puka Nacua, a big day. Cooper Kupp only caught 60 yards worth of offense. 8 of 11 on his targets there. I mean, not terrible, but Puka catching 9 out of 13 has to feel pretty good. So we'll see what those numbers do this week, obviously going against a much more reasonable opponent than the Philadelphia Eagles. So like I said, we'll see what happens here. This Rams offense remains a very solid unit in my opinion. In terms of their defense last week, the problem was they couldn't stop Saquon Barkley. That's going to happen to a lot of people, guys. Not a lot of dudes can stop Saquon Barkley. They've got to stop Kamara in this game. Is that the same? Obviously not. Is it vaguely similar? Maybe. We'll see what they can do here. The Rams defense in general this season hasn't been, amazing. Over the course of the year, they're sitting at 26th, giving up 25.1 points per game. So not in love with that. They're going to have to play a little bit better here. In terms of the injury report, they're looking relatively healthy. We do see Jackson there, questionable there on the offensive line. So it'd be good if he was in, but it doesn't really matter. This isn't a very good offensive line, even when they're healthy. On defense, they're not missing any starters, so that's definitely a positive here as they go on the road to take on the New Orleans Saints, who come into this game fresh off of a 35-14 win there over the Browns. They're 4-7 on the season, so a lot of work to do, but in the NFC South, you're almost never completely out of it. In that win over the Browns, a 35-14 win, they had to feel pretty great about. I'm pretty sure we were on the Saints in that one. It's been, they had their bye week and stuff, so it's been a little bit of time, but Derek Carr looked good, 21 of 27, a couple of touchdown passes and 248 yards. 0 interceptions. He was sacked once. That was it. We saw Taysom Hill do some positive things. He did throw an interception in the game, so that's not great, but he ran for 138 yards on 7 carries and 3 rushing touchdowns, including a 75-yard run. So very, very good stuff from him. We'll see if he can repeat that in this one. Marquez Valdes-Scantling caught 2 out of 4 targets for 71 yards and a touchdown. A very good day out there for the Saints offense, putting up 35 points, and their defense had a good one as well. They didn't have a lot of answers for Jameis Winston. He had almost 400 passing yards and 2 passing touchdowns, but they held the Browns to only 14 points. They did a good job against the run. They didn't come up with any turnovers, so that's not great, but 3 sacks, and they just kind of did what they could do out there. In general, the Saints defense has not been great this year, 20th in the NFL, giving up 23.6 points per game. In terms of the health here for the Saints, they could be missing Eric McCoy there at center. That's a big deal if he ends up being out. Other than that, they're looking very, very healthy on offense and defense. So good things in general for the Saints. They're getting 2.5 points here playing at home, which is a little bit surprising. We've got an over-under of 49.5. The Rams only 4-7 against the spread. They are 6-5 to the over. New Orleans 5-6 against the spread and 7-4 to the over. Guys, Sean McVay on the road as a favorite coming off a loss is 27-19-3 against the spread. The Saints wide receiver situation, not ideal necessarily. This is another tough one. This is a bit of a tough one, guys. I would be shading just slightly towards the over 49.5 here. Do I want to take the Saints plus 2.5 though? I would shade more towards the Rams in this game, but it's a very close spot to me. I think this spread is about what it should be, so we'll see if this ends up in anywhere near the pinned comment. I would lean definitely towards the Rams minus 2.5. Give me that McVay trend a lot of credence, and the Saints are in a little bit of a letdown spot after a big win. I don't think they're that good of a team, but I'm not that high on the Rams either, so probably not a game we're going to be, putting a significant sum of money on. Next on the docket, we're looking at the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They're going on the road to take on the Carolina Panthers in an NFC South showdown. The Buccaneers are 5-6 on the season, coming off of that 30-7 beatdown against the Giants. So good job there, but hey, it was the Giants. Let's not freak out too much. You guys have work to do if you want to have a chance there to win the NFC South. In that win at the Giants, guys, we saw very good stuff from Baker. 294 yards, 24 of 30 through the air, 0 sacks, 0 interceptions, also 0 passing touchdowns, but he did run for a touchdown, and we saw the running game be on point there for Tampa Bay. Irving and White both looking very, very good there. Combined 4 rushing touchdowns across the board there for the Buccaneers, so great stuff in the running game. Mike Evans was doing his thing in the passing game. Nothing insane. Obviously, the focus was the run. We saw Tampa Bay only turn the ball over once. That was a fumble there by Baker, so something for him to work on, but overall, not a bad day for them offensively, and the defense was great. It was the Giants and Tommy DeVito, so let's not freak out. But they gave up only 7 points in this game. They did good against the run and against the pass. They came up with 1 turnover and 4 sacks. Over the course of the year, the Buccaneers defense hasn't necessarily been a strength. They're 24th in the NFL, giving up 24.8 points per game. In terms of health for this one, we've got Tristan Whiffs there. He's questionable in the offensive line. The defense is a little bit banged up. It looks like we're going to be missing a starting linebacker and their starting safety in Tyreek Smith. So not the full strength defense there for the Buccaneers as they go on the road to take on the Carolina Panthers, who are 3-8 on the season. They come into this game off of a 30-27 loss there against the Chiefs, keeping things very close against the Chiefs. It isn't even feeling like that much of an accomplishment since every game for the Chiefs is super close. But Bryce Young, a very nice day. He's resurrected his career there. 1 touchdown, 21 of 35. 263 yards, no interceptions, sacked twice, but he also ran the ball 3 times for 20 yards. Chuba Hubbard didn't have the best day running the ball. This Panthers team is a very good run blocking team. Got to give him credit for that. And Hubbard maybe in a little bit of a bounce back spot after not his best effort. David Moore had a decent day, catching 6 out of 10 targets isn't great, but Adam Thielen coming back, he caught 3 out of 4 targets. I think that's a big deal for this team, his return. So we'll see what they can do there. On defense, they did sack Mahomes 5 times. He also had 3 passing touchdowns, and they couldn't stop the Chiefs' running game, which isn't super shocking. The Chiefs have been a very good running team this season. Over the course of the year, the Carolina defense hasn't been amazing. They're last in the NFL, giving up 30.9 points per game. But I will say over the last 3, maybe 4, probably more like 3 weeks, they've been significantly improved. So we'll see if that can carry over to this one. Carolina, in terms of their health, they're going to be missing their third option wide receiver and their starting tight end. So missing Sanders there at tight end isn't great, but they're very healthy on defense. So a relatively healthy team for the Panthers here, in what is important. Carolina's getting 6 points playing at home. We've got an over-under of 46.5. Tampa Bay 7-4 against the spread, 7-4 to the over. Carolina 4-7 against the spread, and they are 8-3 to the over this season. Guys, this is another great spot to look at the over. Over 46.5 makes a ton of sense to me in this game. I think we'll see lots of offense from these two teams. I don't think we're too worried about any major weather concerns for this game either. Nothing that's going to significantly cut down on the amount of offense that we should see in this game. So go ahead and give me the over in this one. I think we see lots and lots of points. In one of the marquee games of the day, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles going on the road to take on the Baltimore Ravens. The Eagles come into this game 9-2 on the season. They've been absolutely killing it lately, winning 7 games in a row, I think. A win over the Browns, Giants, Bengals, Jaguars, Cowboys, Commanders, and Rams. Oh, all of a sudden, those wins don't seem quite so insane. They had a 37-20 win at the Rams last week. Very, very good stuff from the Eagles. I'm not trying to take too much away. I mean, we saw Saquon go absolutely nuts. He was the real motor behind this offense having success, and that's kind of been the case this season. I haven't been too enchanted with what I've seen from Jalen Hurts. 1 touchdown, 179 yards, sacked once, intercepted 0 times, and he was also helpful in the running game, but 12 carries for 39 yards. I'm not going to throw you a parade. Saquon deserves a parade, guys. 26 carries, 255 yards, and 2 rushing touchdowns. So crazy, crazy stuff there. A.J. Brown, a big day. No shocker there. He's been great this season. And yeah, just good stuff there from the Eagles offense across the board. On defense, sacking Stafford 5 times looks great. Giving up 2 passing touchdowns and 250 passing yards looks mediocre, and they couldn't stop the running game there of Kyren Williams. They had very few answers for Puka Nacua and Cooper Kupp. So I'm going to be keeping an eye here on this Eagles defense. I mean, over the course of the year, they're giving up 18.1 points per game, but when you look at their strength of schedule, I'm not going to be too freaked out by those kind of numbers. In terms of their health for this game, we see Devontae Smith. He's probably going to be out for this one with continued hamstring issues, but other than him, the offense is healthy. On defense, Darius Slay Jr. is going to be out, so going to be missing a starting cornerback, but other than that, guys, this Eagles defense remains healthy as they go on the road here to take on the Baltimore Ravens, who are 8-4 in the season. They're coming into this game fresh off of a 30-23 win there at the Chargers, so a very nice win there. They definitely needed that. Things are very, very tight in the AFC North. In the game, we saw Lamar Jackson have a very nice one. I mean, 177 yards through the air, 2 passing touchdowns. He was sacked once. He also ran the ball for 15 yards, so that's not terrible, and a rushing touchdown. Derrick Henry, though, he went crazy as usual. 24 carries, 140 yards for him. Great night. Zay Flowers caught a few balls. He got us over on a yards prop, so that was nice. Receiving yards prop, so we'll take that, and 30 points is not a bad day even for that Ravens offense. On defense, I have some question marks. They sacked Justin Herbert 4 times, gave up 23 points overall. They slowed down but didn't stop the run. J.K. Dobbins was a problem, but him going out was definitely super helpful for the Ravens, and they didn't do a great job of shutting down McConkey. He caught all 6 of his targets for 83 yards. So some questions for me about the Baltimore defense. I mean, they've been pretty bad this year. Everybody knows that. 23rd in the NFL, giving up 24.5 points per game. In terms of their health for this one, they're fully healthy on offense, so that's a big deal. And on defense, it looks like they're going to be missing Kyle Van Noy. I mean, he's doubtful for this game, so missing only one guy on defense this late in the season doesn't look terrible. So looking at the numbers for this game, guys, the Ravens are -3 playing at home. We've got an over-under of 50.5. The Eagles, 7-4 against the spread. They're 6-5 to the under. Baltimore, 6-5-1 against the spread. They are 10-2 to the over. I do think this is a spot you want to look towards the over, despite both teams wanting to run the ball. I think they're both so good at running the ball, and they've got such prolific running backs. I think we can get over that 50.5 number, but probably not a game that's ending up in the pinned comment. Last but not least, guys, we've got the Sunday night football matchup between the San Francisco 49ers and the Buffalo Bills. The 49ers come into this game 5-6 on the season. A lot of work for them to do there still in the NFC West if they want to come away with that in the position they want to be. They're fresh off a 38-10 loss there at the Green Bay Packers. They lost against Seattle as well. This team has dealt with so many injuries this season. It's been nuts. Last week, we obviously saw Brandon Allen there under center, and it was not what you were hoping for if you were a 49ers fan. They lost that game 10-38. He was mediocre. 199 passing yards, completed, just barely more than half of his passes. Sacked a couple times, intercepted once, and just not a very good day. I mean, McCaffrey couldn't get it going. 11 carries for 31 yards. He caught 3 balls for 37 yards. That's just not going to be enough. Kittle did have a good day. He caught all 6 of his targets for 82 yards and a touchdown, but just not enough production there coming from the 49ers offense. They need Brock Purdy back, and the good news is it sounds like that's going to happen for this game. The questionable news is how healthy is he really going to be for this one? That remains a little bit up in the air. A shoulder can be a pretty tricky thing there, especially for a quarterback. On defense, they got destroyed by the Packers, and they've kind of been getting destroyed this season, guys. It hasn't been the typical 49ers defense that we've gotten used to over the last few weeks, and they are not going to be at full strength. We see Williams and Bosa both going to be out for this game. The 49ers are giving up 23.6 points per game this season. That's 20th in the NFL. Purdy going to be playing in this game, but Trent Williams and Aaron Banks both going to be out there on the offensive line, so he might be taking some more hits. We'll see how that goes. It has not been ideal when we've seen him get hit before. In terms of the defense, guys, they're going to be missing at least 3 starters, including Nick Bosa, and we see a 4th starter questionable there. So, yeah, looking very banged up the 49ers are, even if they do get Brock Purdy back for this game, which seems like that's going to happen. but they're going to need a lot here going on the road to take on the Buffalo Bills, who are 9-2 on the season. They come into this game off of that 30-21 win there over the Kansas City Chiefs. Had to feel very, very good to get that monkey off their back, guys. That had to be pretty tough there. I mean, for the Bills, you had to feel like they're constantly losing to Mahomes, even if they really weren't, but had to feel like that. I mean, a 30-21 win feels great. They're now 9-2 on the season, like I was saying, a dominant team this year. Josh Allen did get picked off once, but he was very good in the running game and passed for 262 yards. He was intercepted once, but sacked 0 times. Had that rushing touchdown. He was the main running option there for Buffalo, so it'd be nice if they could, spread the wealth out a little bit and keep him from having to run the ball, but that may not happen. Khalil Shakur had a good day catching, caught 8 of 12 targets, so not ideal, but Curtis Samuel was good, 5 of 6 targets for 58 yards and a touchdown, and the Bills only had that 1 turnover, so just a very clean game out there from them. And on defense, guys, they did a good job against the Chiefs, obviously. I mean, giving up 21 points, not a complete domination, but they picked off Mahomes twice. They slowed down the running game effectively, and only allowing 21 points, they'll certainly take that. Over the course of the year, the Bills' defense has been decent, easily top 10, giving up 19.5 points per game. They come into this one relatively healthy. We do see Keon Coleman questionable and Dalton Kincaid out, but those aren't the end of the world situations. You've got Amari Cooper still there. You've got Khalil Shakir there. You've got James Cook to run the ball a little bit, and you've got Josh Allen. He's who really matters. On defense, they're looking very healthy. Matt Milano, the only guy on the injury report, he's questionable. There's definitely a chance he plays in this game. Looking at the numbers for this one, guys, the Bills are -6 here playing at home. We've got an over-under of 44.5. San Francisco only 4-7 against the spread. They're 6-5 to the over. Buffalo 7-4 against the spread. They are 7-4 to the over as well. So you could talk me into over 44.5 in this game. I think that makes some sense, but my favorite pick on this one is definitely the Buffalo Bills here at -6. There's some chance you might be able to, wait around and get this at -5.5 now that the news has broken that, Purdy's going to play in this game. Right now, it's looking like you might have to settle for that 6, though, because I'm even seeing some 6.5s out there. So go out there, grab that 6, because 49ers cannot stop the run. That's a huge problem, especially in this matchup. Josh Allen is a big favorite at home, is generally a very good spot. It's going to be 22 degrees out there, guys. That is not what the San Francisco 49ers are used to playing in. I mean, right now, the weather report is something around 22 degrees, 10-mile-an-hour winds, and it's likely going to snow. Well over a 60% chance of snow in this game. Yeah, going to be in the low 20s there. Definite snow. Give me the Buffalo Bills here to get the win and cover at -6. I think they're in an excellent spot playing in what is exactly their environment. That's all the games we have for today, guys. Hit that like button for good luck on all of your bets and subscribe to the channel if you're new. Let me know in the comments any questions you have on today's slate. Thanks for watching. We'll see you guys tomorrow for a Monday Night Football video. We'll also throw some basketball on there, so let's get it going for some more sports betting action.